When Curly saw her girlfriend shot into a beehive by a nail gun, she grieved like a child who lost a pet. Yet, she didn't accept their excuses and blamed Jimmy and Mark for her girlfriend's death. What bad luck! Visiting Orange Tea House several times in a week after leaving the police station, they thought Curly should have died first. But because they got involved, the Grim Reaper skipped right over Curly and took her girlfriend instead. Looks like Curly is safe for now, as long as they can intervene before the Grim Reaper gets angry. From this moment on, the governor started gambling with fate, like a mouse that just discovered the cheese chase. Grandpa, work a little magic now. You also, sir. Her bracelet sparkled under the lights, but the one on the table was missing. Could her girlfriend be the next to bite the dust? This thought snapped Jinmei back to reality. She quickly called Mark to share her discovery, but he was busy hogging the spotlight at the celebration as a volunteer. He promised Jinmei to see her friend first, realized their turn was near, and asked her to check photos for clues on how she'd die. When Jinmei opened Mark's photo, she saw a blinding light hitting her face, making it impossible for Mark to even open. Jinmei was going to end up BBQD, and Mark's mind was racing as he noticed flames flickering all around the square. His heart thinking next year's today might be her anniversary. Jinmei finally drove to the scene. The fireworks show began. Jinmei and Mark desperately searched for her friend in the crowd, as two naughty kids like me as a child lit and threw firecrackers under a horse. The startled horse took off like it had just been cursed, and Mark was the first to find her friend, yelling, "Help! Help!" Fortunately, Mark managed to get hold of a large machete in a timely manner and severed the rope. Finally, they saved her friend from the Grim Reaper's clutches. Jinmei hurriedly asked who the girl sitting in front of her that day was because the Grim Reaper's next target. However, her best friend was so terrified that she couldn't utter a single word. A classmate nearby overheard and realized something. Jinmei panicked, thinking Mark was next, and rushed out to find him. Fortunately, Jinmei saved Mark just in time, so death spared her. Jinmei should be the last, but Curly arrived. Curly was convinced their actions were responsible for her girlfriend's death and saw this as an opportunity for revenge. Spotting Curly approaching with bad intentions, Jinmei quickly grabbed Mark and bolted out of there. As Curly was flattened by a billboard, she replaced Jinmei, sparing Jinmei from the Grim Reaper's vengeance. A few months later, everyone returned to their normal routines, and today Jinmei ran into her friend again on the subway, which sent a wave of her friend reassured her that they'd already skipped past the Grim Reaper, so it was time to face the next chapter of life. Just then, they unexpectedly ran into Mark on the subway, who claimed had boarded ages ago. At that instant, Jinmei sensed trouble. Meanwhile, a rat by the track bit through the wires while eating, dislocating the entire track. A deadly revenge was delayed, but surely came. While watching a car race, Andy noticed something strange. First, the seat next to her cracked. Then she inexplicably stared at the beam above, where dust was falling. A wave of anxiety hit Andy instantly. Suddenly, a strange gust swept in, and a knife stabbed into her shoulder. Her body stiffened like a wooden plank, and then she inexplicably resumed her glaring at the beam above, where the dust continued to fall. Astronomy surged through Andy as a strange wind hit, spilling oil across the maintenance area. Everyone was fixated in the race, completely oblivious to the oil spilling onto the track, and a car that just came out of the pit almost lost control. Fortunately, the skilled driver narrowly escaped disaster. Truth nearby asked, "Isn't this too close for safety?" Her friend Jinmei noted a tall fence ahead. As if cars could just fly in, right? Her boyfriend Hunter reassured her to chill, saying that his 61 frame could handle anything, even if the sky fell. Times L, letter 37B, letter 23C, pound sign, Cyrillic letter 4BB, L's pound, plus or minus, Chinese letter micro, half degrees 2 micro E, plus or minus, letter 73 not sign, EMA, U circumflex, Cyrillic letter 4BB cents, ERA alarmed I3 micro, E circumflex 0, error ed and H, E acute micro, legate J micro, E circumflex pound. As Andy was lost in thought, he was distracted again by a slogan from a trendy dude sitting ahead. Life is like a beach. Eventually, you two will get washed ashore. All these signs made it impossible for Andy to focus on the race just as a grey car rolled into the pit. Amazingly, before the mechanic even had time to pull out the screwdriver, the car zoomed out with a whoosh. The staff thought it was evening already. Soon, the screwdriver was flung onto the track, triggering a disastrous race crash.